122. I'm sorry, no, 123. We have Renika here, and Adria is on her way. Getting close, 2020. Wow.
Ooh,
Whew,
wow.
whew, boy,
Wow.
2020.
Wow.
I guess, hey,
I mean, these days are going by too fast.
yeah, I
You
guess the
know.
only thing you can do is just be thankful because we all know
Amen.
individuals that are not here to even say that. So
Amen.
that's the only way
Amen.
to look
Amen.
at it. So what's going on,
Right.
baby girl?
Hey, Atlanta's great. Everything's great on my end. How about yourself?
Oh, super tight. Just just hoping I can get a deal or two squeezed in before the year's out or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
These attorneys and title companies get real slow on you.
Ooh,
Everybody want to eat
people get
cookies.
real slow on on these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, everybody want to eat cookies or whatever and stuff. So,
So true.
like in the office building, that I have my space in, they got cookies out every day.
Really.
Something out every day or whatever. So, yeah, we already got people waiting in here. So, do a few shout outs of we got Danny from Flores from Fort Worth.
Mm,
Um,
Danny.
Let me see here. We got Stephen Decody from Griffin,
Mm,
Georgia. You're aware of that,
mm.
where that is.
That's in Georgia. Okay.
Velma from South Carolina, Aiken. Um, who else we got in here? All right. Let me see. Um, we got somebody, DW from Florida. Okay.
TW. Okay.
So I'll roll into the question. We got Rhonda in New Jersey. So who we got up here first? Well, before I do that, let me let Renika introduce herself and tell her all the wonderful things she has to
Awesome.
offer.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of the Flipman Show. My name is Renikia Williams, and my motto is nothing moves before the money. So although we teach how to buy and sell real estate with absolutely no money or little to any money, it comes a time where, hey, you may want to leverage and take your real estate business to the next level, and you want to leverage your credit to be able to use the money to invest into your business or invest into your next real estate project. And if so, you can go to findmynextdeal.com. We have unsecured financing, fix and flip financing, long-term rentals. If any of you want to begin to build residual income, we have long-term rental products, new construction products, but just a one-stop shop to help you be able to finance your next real estate project or just get more money for you to invest into your marketing and things of that nature. You can go to findmynextdeal.com if you are interested.
Boom. All right. Okay. This is from Steven Decody. The first question from YouTube. Guess I can post it.
Mhm.
I have a question. I asked this question 2 weeks ago. Not sure if you got to it. Now, how much would you pay in taxes when wholesaling double close versus an assignment fee? Ooh, that's a good
Mm.
question.
That's
Um,
really good.
Good question.
I started off for taxes. It really is all negotiable at the closing table. Technically, the seller should be paying its own prorated taxes up to the day of closing,
No, no,
and
no.
then the end buyer.
I
Hmm?
think it means income taxes.
Oh, income taxes.
Yeah,
That depends on your income bracket.
yeah. I think that's what he's referring to is how much will he have to pay more versus an assignment fee versus a double close, and it's
Oh,
just whatever income is earned, it's still earned income.
right.
I can't see why it would be a difference unless one is more than the other. Your double close amount may be less than the assignment amount because depending on who you're dealing with, they may charge you something for the second transaction. So even if it's just $500, but it's income, you're gonna have to pay taxes on. We always just recommend just seeking out a CPA because you'll get so
Mhm.
many different answers on that, on what way you should go or whatever. We normally don't like to try to get into advising someone on the tax side of it. Just understand that's a good problem, man. That means you made some money.
Exactly.
You'd rather pay taxes on 0 or
Right.
200,000.
Right. And please seek out your CPA, but just understand that's one of the reasons why we do business in an LLC, is because you're able to write off the expenses that is associated with doing that particular transaction, and which could lower your tax liability.
Boom. All right. Who else we got here? Should have had the question ready to go, huh? All right. So we have Susan here. Susan from Brooklyn. Hi, Flip man. Once I get a seller under contract, is it me who has to find a title company?
Okay. I don't know if she was asking you, but
no, go ahead. I'm gonna find another question.
I'll start it off. So who finds a title company? Honestly, personally, I like to control it if I can. So if I can control the attorney and the closing, I will always prefer to use my attorney. Therefore, if I need to sign, double close, whatever the case may be, because sometimes when you use the seller or the buyer's attorney, sometimes those attorneys, they're obligated to their client, which is the seller or the buyer, and they're in that circumstance, they could tell your end buyer or the seller what your assignment fee is, blah blah blah, whatever, to tell them too much information about what you're making and things of that nature, and it could kill your deal. So personally, I like to control it if I can, and use my attorney or my title company. But it's all negotiable. Sometimes the seller has their attorney that they want you to use. Sometimes the end buyer prefer to use their attorney. But from a wholesaler standpoint, I would say try to control it at all means by using your attorney. Your title.
All right. hold on a second.
Okay.
We have a question from Ron Jackson. He says, "Hello, Ty." Ron Jackson, Macon, Georgia. We were just talking about Macon. How are you using the two separate purchase and sales agreement contracts as an assignment? I don't get it. I've only used them to double close, and thank you. You're overthinking it. All right, you have two contracts. You have your contract with you and the seller at one price, and contract, as Renika say, C and D with your buyer at a higher price. The difference is the assignment fee. You don't have to actually have an assignment contract involved to collect an assignment fee. It's just all handled at the title company or attorney level. That's it. The difference is your assignment fee. That's it. The difference is your assignment fee.
And I add to that as well. And the reason why we can use the purchase and sales agreement is because it has the assignment clause in it. So instead of it being an assignment agreement, you have a clause within your purchase and sales agreement that states that you are able to sign that contract. So.
Okay, so the next question is going to be from Ken Fulton. And he wants to know, what are your thoughts on wholesaling land?
And hello to you.
I just got right into it. I wasn't going to say nothing. But okay. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, honestly, I will always say this: wholesaling is a strategy, no matter what market you're in. So if you find a buyer that wants land, you can wholesale it. You can wholesale anything, but the key is just finding another end buyer who wants to build, develop, and it's no difference from you assigning or wholesaling a house. The valuation is different. You got to know how to evaluate the, the sale price of the lands, because to evaluate a value land is a lot different than evaluating or valuing a house. So you just got to know how to evaluate land.
Okay, so Johnny Gallard, I see your comment there. I'm sure Ty's done everything, including a sound check, but if anyone cannot hear
the sale price of the lands, because
go.
Just if you cannot hear, just let us know. Just making sure everyone's able to hear myself, Renikia, and Ty. So Master J wants to know, what can I do, or what can you do to stop a seller from selling to someone else when I have a contract?
That's a good question. It's not much you can do. And when a seller owns it, they can do whatever they want to do. However, if you have it under contract, that means that he's somewhat contractual obligated to sell you that property. So if you do sell it to someone else, he's really is in breach of contract. So therefore, you can cloud his title by just going out and filing your contract on the property record. So once they do go the title, they have to clear all the liens and all those clouds that's on the title and on property record. And if your contract is in place, or your contract is filed on the property record, he will have to clear that with you before he sell it to another end buyer.
Nicholas Rivera, you're funny, man. We'll take care of that door. He says, what's the address? I'm gonna send some WD-40 for that door. No, Nicholas, you was low key trying to snitch, because you basically saying if I went late, you wouldn't hear the door. So okay, whatever. I got you. But you do have a question, Nicholas, and I will read that. Do you need a reason to back out of the contract during the inspection period? For instance, if you have a bad feeling, or a reason why I ask is both parties have to sign off at the title company to release the deposit. Let me see if there's a continuation of that. So that's the question. Do you need a reason to back out of the contract during the inspection period? So I think you more call it the due diligence period.
No, you don't need a reason to back out as showing evidence on why you're backing out. All you need to do is send them an email or some type of document stating that you canceling your contract and you're like your earnings money back.
Yeah, the reason is I changed my mind.
Right.
That's the reason I said so. Ain't no, yeah.
Right.
Changed my mind.
You're not obligated to buy.
Okay. Now, this is interesting, and this is from Roman. Roman says, I have a deal in progress where the seller wants to let the elderly tenant stay for a year and will not sell without making sure the tenant is in place. What advice would you give me? So essentially, the seller is dictating what happens to the property after they sell it. It doesn't work that way. That's no bueno, no good, right?
Depends. Still depends.
Yeah.
They may be paying an enormous amount of rent. Somebody might want to take that on for a year or whatever. It depends, so it just depends.
Okay.
So it depends, and the seller do have the right to put it in his contract for you to continue to fulfill that lease agreement from the previous tenant. Now, and if you agree to that and you sign off on that, you somewhat have to, but at the same time, when you purchase that property, I mean, you can really do what you want to do because you own it.
It's good. Okay, well, there you have it. Let's see here. D Motley says, my current strategy is wholesaling, and I'm a beginner. I just got a property under contract. When do you go get the title? Before or after you find a verified buyer? And I think that I see this multiple times in the chat room here. So listen up, guys.
I will recommend for you to not submit your contracts until you have an invite. Why? Is because you may accumulate a title fee because they will go ahead and pull a title. That's a cost to the attorney, and some attorney will charge that to you. And if you don't have an invite, you're just accumulating expense. So, it really depends on you. I mean, if you want to start your title work prior to finding an invite, feel free. But I would recommend for you to start it once you do find a verifiable invite. What do you say, Ty?
Oh, exactly the same. You can accumulate some fees, Every house you put under contract, you're not going to find a buyer for. And that's real. And so you can start accumulating charges, and they're going to want their money, especially if you don't already have a relationship established with them at 300, 400, 500, depending on the market. Every time you do a title search, that'll add up quick or whatever. So, and then we saw the answer to it before when she was talking about where should you close and all this stuff with the double closing and all that to control it. But sometimes they won't give you that option or whatever, depending on, who the buyer is. So, it could be a deal breaker for them if they can't use who they want to use. So you go and pull a title, and then you find a buyer ready to go. You say, well, I've already pulled a title. Oh, we don't use them. This is who we use. You want to eat that or whatever. So now you'll eat it. If you're going to make money, it'll cover it. It'll just be cost of doing business. But you don't just want to get in that quandrum of doing that because you're messing with the unknown at that point or whatever. So because if there's issues with the title, whether it's going through who they want you to use or who they want to use, it'll come out, and buyers understand that. You know what I'm saying? They that's the business. If you're in real estate, there are title issues that are going to appear from time to time, and they just normally can be handled. Sometimes they can't, but most of the time they can be handled or whatever. So you just have to have a lot of patience in this business, period.
Okay. So we have a question from Toya Tackles and Wesley Wiles. I'm going to read them both. So Toya Tackles says, I'm a year in and no deal. It seems like I can't find a motivated seller willing to sell at what the buyers want. She asked for advice. Wesley has a similar statement. He says, hi, I've tried everything in your 3 to 5 deals a month. I'm in the San Diego market with no luck. I wanted to know what else should I be doing? So it sounds like we have 2 viewers, subscribers, wholesalers, investors who aren't having luck with finding sellers and or deals. They want to know what else should they be doing? What else can they do?
Well, what are you doing? We have
right.
What are you doing? How long have you been doing it? How much of that are you doing? Those questions have to be answered before we can tell you or try to help you troubleshoot what's happening or not happening. So you got to be a little bit more detailed. What forms of marketing are you using? How long have you used that form of marketing? Are you doing multiple things? How many leads are you generating on a daily basis? When I say leads, I mean people that actually want to sell. So once you help us with that information, then we can sort of troubleshoot what you have going on.
Okay. There you two have it. Lynn Baker, and this is from Instagram, maybe asked a question before I got here. It says, so to recap, do all liens, etc., have to be cleared before you sign the contract? So
before you sign a purchase and sales agreement? No,
but it is
close.
Be cleared before.
Before any money exchange and the transfer of ownership and money exchange. Yeah, they're gonna have to be cleared. They're gonna have to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Instagram, I see you guys on there. Go ahead and make sure you're posting your questions so I can read those as well. Instagram times out after about an hour, so I want to make sure I put you guys most definitely at the forefront. It's on 205. Not particularly sure if your question is complete. I see that you're asking about a question in Jacksonville. Just make sure you go ahead and add the second portion so I can read that as well. Let's see here. Back to our next questions. Desmond Carey, and this is from Facebook, wants to know, what's your opinion on using Google AdWords he just started using and hopes to get consistent leads from that resource. So what do you think?
Very expensive. First of all, but can be very effective at the same time. They can pay for it, can more than pay for itself. It does allow you to get leads that you may not normally get from direct mail or bandit signs or cold calling, all the other methods, because what has happened is someone has physically sat down and says, sell my house fast, Birmingham, or sell my house or buy my house fast, Tuscaloosa, or cash buyers Atlanta. They've physically sit down and done that. So that's a different mindset than someone that just got a postcard in the mess. I wonder what they're talking about. What's your offer? They call you like, what's your offer? You know what I'm saying? Or a bandit sign, even though they saw the message, they really wasn't looking for it. You put that on top of mind. Hey, okay, yeah, mama just died or whatever. It's been 6 months. We ain't gonna do nothing with that. Let's see what these people are talking about. So it's a different mindset or whatever. Like I said, it can be very, very effective, but it's very expensive. You got to have a lot of patience with it, and a budget. You have to make sure that website is Google AdWords friendly. All of that stuff factors in. So, I spent. Yeah, that's one of my main methods of generating leads. I went and looked at one today. It was a goose chase, but it was a goose chase because I had looked at it months before. And the closer I got over there, I just didn't remember. The closer I got over there, I said, I know this is this house. And got over there. It's a pretty good area for being hot and what buyers want. Or whatever, but it's like off the beaten path and just literally, it's just hard to explain. Then the thing that more stirring me not to really be interested, the seller just so his mind, he just all over the place or whatever. He told me, I'm gonna call everybody that I find on Google. So when I called him this morning to see when I was going to, could take a look at it, he was like, well, I got somebody coming at 12, got somebody coming at 1, but I said, well, hey, I don't compete for properties. I just told him.
Right.
I say, let them come look at it, right? And if it doesn't work out, holler at me or whatever. But no, you can come on now. So he convinced me to come out there at 10. So I went out there and, and I saw the hate I did or whatever, because that house is jacked up. It's been like, it's only like a mile from where it should be, that it would be just like nothing to remove by it. And I see the reason I'm more hesitant is because he tried to sell it months ago.
Why didn't you buy it months ago? I mean, why you didn't?
Same thing. I didn't know until I got over there. That's where I was headed. The closer I got, but I was over there. It's like 30 minutes from my office, or at least 40 minutes from my office. Just really on the other side of our market, or whatever. Right. I said, I'm already over here now. I'm gonna go ahead and sit. Plus, I told him I was coming. I don't do that. I told him I was coming. So once I got over there, it just let me know. Like I said, he's tried to sell it before. He called me before, and he still hadn't sold it. So that means he's having trouble. So he didn't call a lot of investors, is my point, and he's still having trouble selling it. So and then when he opened that door, so I just looked at the outside when I went over there months ago. When he opened that door, the outside is the best part of it.
Oh, wow.
Matter of
Do the numbers make sense?
And, yeah, well, you know what? The numbers make sense. It's just, I'm gonna try to pull it up. I'm gonna try to put it on the screen here. But why do we start even talking about that? We're talking about Google AdWords. It came from Google AdWords. It came from Google AdWords. That's my point. Yeah. It came
Yep.
Lord have mercy.
Yep. I'm sorry. I wouldn't
call it HDD. What is it?
HD.
It's just all over the place. Okay. So Instagram, girls that bought her. If the seller's property has a mortgage and the repairs exceed that, what do I do if the total rehab is over the property value? move on.
Yeah, numbers don't make sense. But you talking about over the after repair value or over the as is value?
Okay. So you have to clear that up, Barty. So I guess just for the sake of, what if it's the as is value?
The as is value is what the property is worth right now today at its current condition.
Oh, he commented the after repair value.
Oh, well, it doesn't make sense. The numbers don't. If the numbers doesn't work, the deal doesn't make sense.
I do like it.
So if your rehab is more than what the property is worth, it doesn't make sense. How would you make any money?
Okay.
Unless it's a buy and hold, So maybe.
Yeah, I think tagging onto that, y'all gotta put it all together. Says it's a duplex and would generate the return back, and the reason why the repairs exceed the value is because the property was vandalized.
Well, it really depends on your exit strategy. If your exit strategy is holding on to it and collecting rent, then it could be worth it. Your exit strategy is flipping the property, then it doesn't make sense. So it really just depends on your exit strategy and the value and the cost of it, because the cost of the property will determine if it's even a rent worthy property too.
Okay. Sticking with questions from Instagram, Ace35123 says, I got a seller and don't want to show his property and have a quick claim. What do I do?
You have a seller that don't want to show his property, but you have a quick claim?
Yes.
And he only has a quick claim. Doesn't sound like he's too motivated.
If you don't want to show it, then how did he expect to sell it?
Good question.
Okay, so there you have it. Not a motivated seller. So
that's the house.
You got the house.
That's a nice looking house, though.
Yeah, I wish I'm sorry. I wish I would have took the inside.
Is it burned in?
Is it four-sided brick?
No. Just the front.
Oh.
Just the front.
Brick is.
Yeah.
It looks pretty recent.
Oh wow!
I knew you were gonna say that.
She's so positive.
Hey, I knew you were gonna say that. I'm really not doing it justice because I didn't take the back, the front. You know what I'm saying? I should. Normally I do it,
okay.
but this is how uninterested I was once I got out there, and just did. Oh no, nah. But anyway, I'll take it off screen.
From outside looking in, it looks decent.
Yeah, the front, but I ain't. Yeah.
Instagram wholesale renegade. Post that question again. Once I refreshed my Instagram, I did lose it. Now, Ace35123, you said, okay, so I asked this question about the seller who did want to show the property and he has a quick claim deed and he wanted to know what to do. And naturally, the first response is like, well, the seller must not be that motivated. Well, he recanted and said he is motivated. The seller is motivated.
Well, okay. Well, what are the numbers?
So,
what are the numbers? See.
So he wants you to put a contract on it before he let you in?
Okay, well, yeah, that question too. But what's the price?
Right.
What's the ARV?
$6,000.
Okay, and what's the ARV?
What's the ARV, Ace?
Oh, he on Instagram. Okay.
Yes, the contract. Before he signs the contract, he's not going to show it.
I mean, at the end of the day, when that happens. That they want to. I mean, I have seen that before.
Yeah.
Send them a contract.
Yeah.
They know you haven't seen it, so it will all be contingent on once you get into the property. Now you can really negotiate, the real final contract. But if the numbers make sense, $6,000, determine the rehab cost and after repair value.
It's a quick claim though.
50,000.
Well, what's the quick claim thing about? If you saying that the current seller only has a quick claim deed?
Yeah.
Or that's what he's saying?
So he got a quick claim and he tripping. You see what I'm saying? You that's just like red flags all over the place. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I don't see people have a whole quick claim and claiming the property is not even theirs.
Yes.
It's messy.
Okay. It's on 205. I did read your question from Instagram about 15 minutes in. So Ace, I'm sorry. It's just because we're on Instagram and you're putting responses sporadically. I hope they've answered your question in regards to the property. Because I'm not particularly sure what your response yes is to. But if you feel that it's a deed, indeed a deal, and not going to take the suggestion that you have been presented with several red flags, then go for it.
Well, you asking our opinion. I'm just letting you know, red flag.
A property for $6,000, you probably can walk right into it. Trust me, it ain't that boarded up for $6,000.
Okay. Roman just
to mention a quick claim. I'm somewhat didn't talk myself out of it. He'll probably take less, but this boarded up. I think it's a 4-unit. It may be a 5-unit, but I'm gonna say it's a 4-unit building. And I called him as a property management company that owns it. The people that own, run the property, they actually own it. And he said it's a tax deed, meaning it went through the total process. There's no redemption period. He bought it from the state. That's how it works in Alabama once it goes past the redemption period. And he said it would just have to be a quick claim unless I wanted to quiet the title. And he wanted $35,000 for it. Now it probably needs, just outside looking in. I couldn't get in it or whatever. It's just 4 units, 25. It probably needs at least about $60,000 to $75,000 in repairs or whatever. So, and it's in a D neighborhood, D as in dog. So, but I'm considering maybe going back to him. I would probably run the title on this. Now, this is a situation where I would run the title because I would, it would be the way I would try to negotiate the deal is I would probably see if he would entertain some owner financing because it's just sitting there. They've owned it. He said he's owned it for 2 years. It's just sitting there. It's just sitting there ready to be burned in that neighborhood at some point. You know what I'm saying? So, but the quick claim part of it scares me, and I guess I could do the quiet title probably. I don't want it because I wouldn't want to put that type of money into that particular property in that area for me or whatever. So, but just thinking through the quick claim thing, if it's a situation where you may purchase the property yourself, then you would, just run title on it. You are still taking a risk because you're not getting a warranty deed on it. But if you run title on it and show the person that he got the quick claim from actually owned it, then you probably have something. I still would it would probably be easier just to try to, once you purchased it from him with the quick claim, go back to that person before him and see if you can get a warrant. You'll get the advice of an attorney or title company, see if you can get a warranty deed in place, because it's going to be difficult for you to sell it at any point if you decide to sell it or whatever. So unless you just intend on holding it forever or whatever. So,
No, that's a really good point you made. I just want to add to it. So if you do a quick claim, absolutely right. I will always run title, because especially when in the case of what you were just talking about, Ty, when you buy those tax liens, you're really buying all the liens associated with it as well, because those things are not cleared until you go through that quiet title foreclosure standpoint. So, so you want to run title just to know what liens are in place, because it could be a steal deal for $10,000, but it got $100,000 worth of liens on it. So it really changes everything at that point. So when you do the quick claim, you really, like Todd said, you're not getting a warranty deed. So it's not clearing any liens. So you buying it as is with all the liens or anything or any clouds with it. So protect yourself by getting some type of title search or title insurance when you're doing those quitclaim deeds. Use an attorney. Still use an attorney, even if you're going to do a quitclaim.
Okay. Master J has a question that I like, and it's interesting. And I know you guys have an answer. He wants to know, what is the highest fee you can charge?
Yeah, that's a great thing about it. There's no limit.
Is there a highest? Is there a highest,
no.
or is it just let's not be too greedy?
No, the deal makes sense. There's no limit.
Right.
If you
there's no limit up to when it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there's no limit. I guess he means like when it's too much, it's too much. Depend on the deal. You know what I'm saying? If you find I don't know, I can throw any ridiculous number out there. If you find a $10 million property, you can get it for $3 million.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You could probably sell it still for $6 or $7. You know, there's no limit. I can keep going up. You want me to use $1 billion? You know, hey, trust me, what we're doing is done on that level too. The same thing.
Absolutely.
It's normally phrased as an option or whatever. Somebody may put up $1 million or $2 million or whatever, just to have the option to have not really ownership, but the option to purchase it over a 6-month, maybe the 12-month period to evaluate. And in that whole time frame, they're just trying to find a buyer.
Right. Okay. So
unlimited opportunity.
Unlimited opportunities. I like that. That's good. So you can't go into this thing, guys, saying that if I can't make this amount, I'm not going to do it, because you can make, like you said, some deals you may only make $500, but on another deal you could possibly make 50 grand. So no limit, Master J. Good question though. Robert Jones wants to know, why would someone hold on to a property and not do anything with them? So we're talking about the properties that are boarded up. You're calling and you're like, hey, this property has been vacant, and like, I still ain't gonna sell it.
I give you a perfect example, and I'm sure a certain content of people are watching this particular show. I'm sure you driven through neighborhoods. You have relatives, friends, or family members that have an old car in their yard, and you're like, why won't they get rid of that car? I'm gonna fix that car one day. Same thing with houses. It's the same thing. It's the same mentality.
Mr. Eugene, this house.
And then, in another scenario, you could just be waiting for the values to come up before you sell it. It's like a stock. You're just waiting for that peak moment. Or you just have loan money and it's sitting in houses. It's just a lot of different scenarios.
Yeah, and some people, they just they were brought up or raised not to ever sell real estate. No matter.
Hold on to it.
Yeah, and they're just paying taxes. They just never sell it. They're just the mentality. Now what happens is when they pass, those kids will get rid of it with no hesitation. Mama got rid of it. Now it's not worth nothing. She didn't let it went down, and we can't get nothing for it.
Exactly.
Okay.
We got a lot of neighborhoods in Birmingham like that. Houses that is that I say enough of neighborhoods where the values probably would increase a great deal, but now I don't know if this is factual or more of a I am not even gonna say that, but a lot of people just hold on to real estate with they pay for a house 30 years, which is fine. You do whatever you want to. But the way values increase in real estate is constant transactions, right? And so a lot of people will buy a house with no intent of not being there for more than 5 years, right? They may buy it in a new subdivision. They know that, well, in most cases, the value is going to go up, right? Take that equity that they built, go buy another house and do that probably 7, 8, 10 times over the course of 30 years, basically, or their lifespan, buying real estate. Before you know it, you probably got $500,000 if you just manage the money right, put it in different other investments, and there you go. They don't buy houses as a place to live. They buy houses as an investment. It's just you got to have somewhere to live or whatever. You know what I'm saying? The house is an investment, not somewhere where I stay. One group of people buy houses to live in. Another group of people buy houses as an investment. That was one of the things I was taught before I even got into real estate. A guy tried to get me to become an agent, but I had no interest in being in real estate. I was trying to sell him a website. He was a broker or whatever. And that's one of the things that he educated me on. Say, this group of people, I'm not going to call them, they buy houses to live in. This other group of people buy houses as investments.
Yes.
Right. Assets to their books.
Exactly.
Makes sense to me. Poppy Darius on Instagram says, you have sellers wanting retail after they have told you that their home needs work. So how does that conversation go? What do you want to sell your house for? Well, I want market value, but you're going to have to come in and fix the roof and this and this and this and this. Well, that's not how that works, sir. No, sir.
Right. Basically, that's how that goes. I mean, it doesn't make sense. So you sometimes, and you're absolutely right. Sellers, they love their house. They're in love with their house. So they want maximum value, and they delusional about what the true value of their properties are. So it's up to you to educate them. And you send them a nice email, say, all of these things are wrong. Therefore, your property, therefore, we can offer you this because I have to fix all of this, which is a value of $100,000, and your property is not worth this. So sometimes you have to, somewhat educate them on the condition of their property versus selling their property at maximum market value.
But I think you have to figure out a way to be nice. Like if you're talking about that property that grandma just passed and her kids say used to, and they're wanting to sell it, but they're like, we grew up in this house. It has sentimental value, but to me, it means nothing, ma'am. I didn't grow up here, so for me, it's just sorry. No, you don't get compensated for your memories. It just doesn't work that way. And I think a lot of sellers put that value into the house as well. This is my home.
Well, people want what they want. At the end of the day,
I like how you put that.
Yeah, people
sentimental value.
Yeah, they want what they want. That's why you have to generate a lot of leads, because most people are going to be in la la land, and sometimes I may be in la la land, but we ain't in the same la la land. That's why you have to generate a lot of leads, because most won't, but what?
Most will. Some will.
Enough will.
Enough will. Yay!
Right.
Got it right. Learning moment. Okay, so Roman has been doing yellow letter marketing for the past 6 months since I've been wholesaling, and I've gotten mostly no's from sellers using this method. What advice could you give me? So,
all right, again,
what does the letter say? How many are you sending? How often are you sending them?
We got to know that. How many leads have you generated? That's all that stuff is important to answer that question. I can't tell you anything. But I'm going to give you an A+ for doing something or whatever. But other than that, I can't. It's hard to evaluate what's not working for you, because we have to know that information. You named everything we need to know or whatever. So
okay, so the original KP wants to know: do you run comps on multi-unit properties the same way that you would a single family home?
Well, you can, but a lot of times you're not going to have enough activity to do that, depending on the market. Most investors, they buy based on income that it can produce or has the potential to produce, or a combination of both. So to answer your question, it's not the same as houses. Now, an appraiser will still go out if one is involved in the transaction. He still will look for like comps. And when you're dealing with commercial, they may have to go back years, and they may have to extend, miles to get even comps of whatever. But at the end of the day, most of the time it's based off the income that it either can produce and or is producing. When you get into your cap rates, your gross monthly and annual income, then your expenses, you normally can come up with the numbers that are needed or whatever. Now, it's, still boils down to how many are rented, what's the unit mix, meaning how many 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedrooms, any maintenance deferred, what utilities, what that gets into expenses, the utilities the tenants pay versus the owner, all of that, the number of units, just a total evaluation versus the house. This house sold for that. What is it going to take for this house to look like that house? In the same area within the last 6 months, near the same square footage. Boom, that's it. It is not like that with multifamily.
Okay. I am Trouble 214 on Instagram. You said you're just swapping over to YouTube. That's great. That's fine. Just make sure you post your question there as well. As I mentioned earlier, Instagram. I have not missing your questions. As oftentimes when I refresh it, if you're on Instagram, I lose those questions. They fall away. So just always repost them. I'm here to ask your questions, and these two will answer them. But thoughts on the road, and this is from Instagram, wants to know, can you do an example, or do you have an example of a wholesale script with a seller?
Yeah. YouTube search top 10 questions to ask sellers. Top 10 questions to ask sellers, and put Flipman behind it.
All right. So thoughts on the road. There you have it. There's one that exists, guys, and that's part of one of the 370 plus videos that are available to you on YouTube to watch and learn this wholesaling game. Never too late. Let's see here. Going back over here, Elion wants to know, I'm making $50,000 a year and want to mortgage $50,000 for a property, then renting it out for a 5% return a year. Would that be a good way to get into the market? Lord, don't know what none of that is. Sorry.
You can tackle it first, and I'll give you my opinion on what he should do. What you think, Renika, with 5% return a year? Ooh.
So I'm making $50K a year, want a mortgage. So you're making $50K a year. You want a mortgage for investment? You want a mortgage for investment in a home or investment property. But, to be honest with you, if you're getting $900 a month on a $50,000 mortgage, that return is more so like 17%, 22%. So personally, if I'm investing in real estate, I'm not investing in real estate for 5% returns. Because you can get that in your 401k, you can get that in other minimum risk opportunities. We invest in real estate for like over the top opportunities. So you want to invest to get 15% returns, 20% returns. 5% return is okay, but it's honestly, inflation is 3%, so it's really returning at 2%. To me, it's not worth it if you're focusing on 5% returns.
Yeah, she basically was saying the same thing I would say with real estate. You look for double digits return, sometimes triple. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
sometimes 3 digits. So
right.
There's a lot of ways to leverage. $50,000 is a decent income, depending on the market. I know in Birmingham it'll be okay or whatever.
Yeah.
You can have a good living managing that money correctly. Assuming that's when your credit is definitely going to have to come into play, and that's probably what Renika would have to go into more detail on how you then can leverage your credit along with the income, assuming, with your debt ratio and all that stuff. She would have to get into that, but that's what she specializes in, and I'm gonna turn that over to her because she probably need to dive into that more. But before I do, I got this on the screen because that was a video that I did on yesterday. You can Google that term or whatever and check it out or whatever. So basically just showing you where you can fill out the one-page contract online and how to use DocuSign, where you don't ever have to print it out, just all through email. Seller, click, 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 sign on your end, click, 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 sign on the seller, and I'll show you how to do that. So, but Renika, if you want to go into that form or whatever, so.
Absolutely. So the key is that, being able to leverage your credit, a 50,000. I don't think we understand how much value having a job is as you build, as you begin to build, because you have real, consistent income coming in that you can leverage somewhat to be able to invest into your real estate business. But the key is that we don't have room for mistakes. So you want to invest in opportunities that makes too much sense. And the opportunity at 5%, if one little thing go wrong, you probably be upside down. So there's ways to leverage your credit, where we can show you how to leverage your credit if you have a 680 credit score or higher, to receive up to $150,000 of unsecured credit. So you can use it to invest into real estate, use it as a down payment to a fix and flip, and then or be able to use it as the down payment to a buy and hold, kind of depending on what your investment plan is. But the key is that leveraging your credit so you can invest into real estate deals, so you can take the profits from them to continue to build your real estate portfolio.
Boom.
All right, there you have it. Boom, bam. And if on your screen you notice there's fundmynextdeal.com. That is how you can reach out to. Did you take it? Put it back. Reach out to Renikia, and she is available across all social media platforms. But Renikia, this is for you, and this is from Eric, our movie quote guru. Haven't seen you in a while. What's up, man? He wanted to know what's the minimum or max you suggest to start with when it comes to multifamily homes, and then he wants to know how would funding options work with that, specifically transactional funding. So does it work for multifamily homes also, correct?
Absolutely. So this is a great question because, I think, we have this mindset that, buying 20, 30 units all in one time is better than doors. But, I come to the realization that a 20 unit is no different from 5 quads. And quads are single family, and the valuation and the ability to qualify for a single family, a single family versus a residential, versus a commercial like multifamily apartment complex is a lot easier. So why not focus on just going out there buying it? To me, a door is a door, regardless if it's all 10 or 15 or 20 doors in one plot of land, or if I have 20 doors, it's the same difference. Because I come to that conclusion, it's no difference if you bought 20 units, and each one of those units, if you break it down, you purchased at 75,000 a unit. So if you bought 20 units, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, at 75,000 a unit, but if I could give you a quad at 35,000 a unit, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, what is the difference? There's no difference. Therefore, I think we got to get out of our mindset of thinking 20 units or a whole apartment complex, it has more value than having 5 quads, which is 20 doors. And it's a lot easier to qualify for a quad, a triplex, a duplex, or a single family, because you can get up to 90% of your purchase and 100% of your rehab. Versus commercial is more loan to cost. We'll give you up to 70% of the cost of the purchase and the rehab, which now you have to bring in 30% of your purchase and 30% of your construction rehab amount.
Okay, Eric.
For commercial than residential.
Okay. So Eric, hopefully that answered your question. That was Eric from Facebook. I see a lot of you guys saying, don't forget Facebook questions. Don't forget Facebook questions. I'm actually making a purpose to ask the Facebook questions because they're showing up 1 for every 10 of YouTube. Just looking at it, I all read, but I don't know. But yes, well, I am asking the questions from there as well. I'm trying not to ask duplicates or questions that have semi been answered already. But Desmond Carey, also a question from Facebook, wants to know, how do you handle sellers when they say the property can be zoned commercial and want a higher price than residential?
If it's the only property that's in a residential area and it's zoned commercial, I got to treat it like it's commercial. Treat it like it's residential.
Residential, absolutely.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. And it may be on the corner, it just happen to be zoned commercial. I'm gonna have to treat it like it's residential. Those are the lights in the area.
Right. If it's zoned residential but can be converted to commercial, but right now, as is today, is a residential property. Therefore, I'm going to purchase it based on what it is today. And that's kind of like trying, that's the same as, using your check before you get it. So at the end of the day, you can't evaluate value before it's there.
Okay. Lex Coins, look at here. You typing in all caps. That means you yelling at me. So, What do you
say in all caps?
See, look at that, all caps. Sometimes don't do that, Lex. Wants to know, what do you do if a seller changes his mind at the closing table? Who pays the title company then?
Who set it up?
Yeah, who set it up?
Now the buyer
Who requested title?
Yeah, who set it up? See, all that's going to be already detailed. If it's at the closing table, that means all the docs, the HUD one, everything's already been prepared. It's going to tell you who's responsible for it. You know what I'm saying? If your name is that part of it, then boom, that's you. If it's the buyer, now the buyer gonna be probably 38 hot, but he's responsible for it, and it's gonna depend on your relationship with the buyer. You might say, man, I don't know how they flipped out on us, blah, blah, blah. I'll split it with you, you know what I'm saying? Or something like that. And then it just depends on it just depends. I might would take care of it all if I didn't got this guy here. I know he's been bothering me a lot or whatever. I done wasted his time, basically. It ain't my fault, but technically it is, or whatever. Right. I may just take care of all. I don't know. Just depends on the situation or whatever. So,
and plus the seller backing out at the closing table, he's in a breach of the contract. So I would negotiate that he take care of the title too.
Yeah.
Because you are a ready, willing, and ready buyer.
Okay. El Haj Malik, I haven't seen you in a while, but you say I haven't seen you because you've been doing deals. Way to go. Way to go. Glad to hear that. Make sure you keep us posted on how those numbers are running. How much money you making? What's your bag looking like, El Haj? Tell me.
Bag.
How much money you making? Okay, so Renique, yes, StatQ has a question for you. StatQ has posted this like 20 times. So it's in regards to it's in regards to something that might be closer to home for you, because I wouldn't know, and because it's based off something that was on the news. So he wants to know your thoughts and opinions on the investigation in ATL a month ago about wholesalers taking advantage of elderly home sellers that aired on WSB TV Atlanta 2. TV Atlanta Channel 2. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So,
oh, wow.
Are you aware of that? Did you see that?
I'm very aware of it. And actually, they are my colleagues. I'm very aware of every person that was involved in that, ordeal situation. And I have some thoughts, but I'd rather not share it because it is close to home and is, very close colleagues of mine. However, I will just speak in general about it. This is just what happens. It's the nature of the beast that we're dealing with. A homeowner felt, and in a sense, and I'll just share the scenario with you. So here in Atlanta about a month ago, there were some wholesalers that purchased a property from this old elderly lady. I think she was like 82 years old, and they put it on a contract at $95,000 and immediately wholesale it that same moment for $135,000. When the 82 lady found out that they really sold it for $135,000, and they felt that they took $50,000 from her net worth from her, she called the commissioner, she called the news and made a very big deal about it because she felt that she was taken advantage of. I would just say this is the nature of the business that we are in. Was it morally right? Was it morally wrong? Who is to judge that situation?
Yeah, I was about to say she got what they agreed upon.
She got her what they agreed upon. So
they call that capitalism.
Yeah.
I'm saying though, everything was cut and dried, attorney, title work, everything straight to.
It was. It really was. And they found an end buyer. They bought it for $135,000, and she felt like they took advantage of her. And you know, and she made a really big deal about it. It was very heavy on the news.
Oh wow, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
But barring the proximity of a relationship to, you know, you just in general, that is this business. That's
the business. It's the nature of the business.
Slam dunk deals that you're talking about.
Right.
Well, if you go into Walmart and they got
right.
I don't know what do you want to name? They got Tide detergent for $25 for the big container, but they got it for $5. What?
That's true.
I gave you what you asked for. I gave
you. Hey, did you know what went in and bought that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Or if you go buy some Jordans,
here we go.
$20 to make them, and you spend $200.
Right.
As advertised.
I agree.
Asked for.
I totally agree. It's the nature of the business.
If you go buy a car, it probably takes $8,000 to make it, and you pay $60.
Right. Right.
But they got that logo on it though.
Mine got the logo on it.
My signature.
Yeah, my signature. Yeah, come on. Come on.
But okay, so forget that particular scenario. Let's just really talk about it. Let's talk about it in people that are trying to learn how to wholesale. Like, is this one of those types of businesses where you have to have the heart for it? Like, you got to have the Gatorism.
Heartless. Right.
You got to have the.
And some of it is kind of heartless to a certain extent.
They call that profit, man.
But it's called capitalism.
It's called capitalism.
This world is built off your back.
They got countries where.
Do you know the difference between what a CEO and business really make versus what they paying you?
Yes,
it's capitalism.
Yeah, it's
the bonus and the private.
And I can assure you, in that lady's lifetime, she has got something at one price and sold it for a higher price. Just because it was 40, what is that? What is that? What are my numbers there? You say $40,000. That makes it better or worse?
No, it doesn't.
Right.
Sound like she wouldn't have been happy that was $4,000 that they made.
Right. Right. It was a huge deal to the point where I feel like the real estate commissioner is going to probably start changing some laws out here in Georgia. You know, because to them, they feel like, you know, they feel like a wholesaler is doing a real estate agent job. So from that transaction, there was no real estate agent involved, but there was money made. So to them, it makes it seem like the real estate agent world is being cut out of the real estate place that is, you know, out here. It's deeper. It's
ignorance is dangerous.
It is.
It is dangerous. We're no different than flippers. They buy it. You know what I'm saying? They making
no different. And they've been doing this.
Oh my God. Wholesalers old as real estate, which is thousands of years old.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Y'all see, I'm a look.
She just had somebody in her ear.
Yeah.
Somebody that was in her ear. But
someone was in her ear. It was she eventually got a real estate agent to look into it. And then they went to the news and they blasted for about a week of what was going on.
Yeah.
It made it seem like it was a bigger thing than what it was.
It made it seem like it was a bigger problem.
How recent was it? How recent was this?
A few weeks ago. No more than a month.
Okay. All right. Well, there it is then. Whatever.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You feel right,
I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Hey, more than one way.
Okay. Well, private life. Want to know would that have been a good time to do a seller-sided HUD so the seller wouldn't know if that's an option for the Ordeal Atlanta? So, what's the workaround? Would that have been
a double close?
Double closing.
Double close, yeah.
But there's nothing that says it was double close wasn't done. I mean, so not knowing.
Right. It wasn't. That's what she was mad about because they turned around. She basically was like, they turned around the same day, the same moment.
Oh, this was a double close too?
Right. So it was.
Close too?
Yeah, I think it was a double closing. You know what? The fact that I know these people was double closing, the transaction was too big. It was definitely double closing. Yeah. They didn't put that on the HUD. You're not putting $40,000.
Did they name names?
Huh?
Did they name names?
Oh, names. They went to their social media. They had their social media videos up. They went to they was having some little meeting. Channel 2 News went to the meeting, was like rushing them and talking about what, you know, how I feel to take advantage of these people. It was messy. I actually got it. I seen the clip. I got the video clip. Yeah.
Man, and see, that's why I feel like, you know what? The question that comes to mind is, how do I?
And they're well known. They're very well known wholesalers. Very well known.
I sleep very well at night. Thank you very much. No further questions. I have no.
Exactly. That's kind of what they said.
Then I would say, if you have more questions, those most definitely are free. But if you want any more answers, I charge for those too. Yes.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, guys. A lot of you are asking, were you late or did we start late? So last week we noticed that we do a little bit better as far as traffic. Starting just a little bit later. So yes, we did start a little bit later, and I was even still late with that. Try not to tell else crept in the door. We will get the WD-40 for the door, Nicholas. And hopefully you guys got to have some of your questions answered in regards to wholesaling. Let's not forget to like, join, subscribe across all platforms for Renikia and Ty. But Ty's available YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. That was my Black Bernie Mac rendition. Anyway, just follow him, and especially on Instagram and Twitter, follow Ask Flipman. Yeah, you'll get notified when he uploads content daily, and you can always go back and watch these videos once we're done. So make sure you tap the bell to turn on the notifications and like and subscribe the YouTube channel. Now, a lot of you who are new or who've been with us for a very long time, you see that beautiful lady on the screen right there. Her name is Miss Renikia Williams, and she is very knowledgeable in this wholesale game. But guess what, guys? It does not stop there, because that's not where you end. You have to continue to broaden your horizons, and she has some jewels that she drops all the time about building generational wealth, but leveraging your credit to do so. Now, how we gonna do that, y'all? But she has tools in place to help you do so. So, Renikia, what can I do with my credit to help me make sure my kids, are well taken care of, and using real estate transactions to do so? And how can you do that?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for that outro. But most importantly, nothing moves before the money. Most importantly, that one of my mottos is credit is the gateway to wealth. It's almost impossible to save enough money to get to the next level. So it's it'll be very strategic for you to leverage your credit, because you can tap into money that you don't necessarily have in your pocket. Your credit can get you $150,000, but you may not have that money in your pocket. But you can leverage your credit for up to $150,000 of unsecured credit. So now you can use that to invest in real estate, use it as a down payment to fix and flip, or you are able to use it for marketing dollars so you can generate more leads. The key is that leveraging your credit to invest is the way to the next level. It's just the way. But most importantly, if you did want to take advantage of our real estate funding options and creative financing options, you go to fundmynextdeal.com, and you can also find me on Instagram or Facebook, and you can email me at funding@fkfinancials.com.
All right, there you have it, guys. Funding@fkfinancials.com. Just do allow 24 to 48 hours to receive a response from Renikia or one of her associates. And again, she's available across all social media platforms. But next week is Christmas. It's Christ the Savior. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Whatever.
And all the gifts still at the store.
whatever holiday you guys are celebrating, whether it's Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, nothing, just family and good food and good traditions. We will be.
No,
Not,
I don't know. I just no. I don't think
no,
so.
yay, would.
What day is Christmas? Is it like Wednesday?
Christmas
It's
is Wednesday.
and then the next day is
The day after.
20.
Yeah.
So we'll just see y'all next year in 2020.
2020.
Yeah, next year.
Okay, so
Wow, this is the last one for 2019.
this is
Yeah,
it.
that's
No,
it.
is it?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, that's it.
This is it. We'll see you next year, guys. Go ahead and make the decision now that you're going to do something to change your life, change your future. Wholesaling could be your ticket out of whatever tie you have, whatever stronghold you have of your life. Money isn't always the answer, but it most definitely helps, and wholesaling is a good way to get you some. So make that decision now. Renika, you have any parting words for the end of the year?
Focus on putting an investment plan together and sticking to it. And I say that because if you put a plan in place, you know when you are off, you know when you are on top of it. So if you don't have a plan, it's almost like taking a trip. If you don't have a map or a GPS, you don't know how close you are to that point or how far away from it. So 2020 is in 2 weeks. It's time to really plan and execute.
Okay. Ty?
Oh, nothing. Just a new year. Hopefully I'll make it to the next 2 weeks, and hey, don't wait to the end to get started. Go ahead and get it into motion. You could be cashing a check by January 8th or whatever. So let's get it. You know what I like to say. So make it happen.
Let's get it.
All about action. Action.
All right, guys, we know the 2 words that make this thing work is education and consistency. So consistently educate yourself on wholesaling and you'll be successful in this game. So just look forward to, I'm sure Ty will still be posting content on Instagram, YouTube, across all social media. So make sure you're looking for that. And we will see you guys on the flip side. And the flip side is going to be the next decade. Ooh,
wow.
All right, guys, I would take y'all out with a Temptation rendition of Silent
But we
Night,
ain't.
Flip man, it's the flip man. You want some money in your hand? Flipping houses without credit or your cash. Get that bag.